धन्यवाद सभा में।
आदरणीय सदस्य भर्तृहरि महताब जी।
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is really gratifying to participate in this deliberation. Firstly, I'm thankful to the decision that was taken in 2015 to observe the Constitution Day. Some members are present here of the previous Lok Sabha when during the deliberation on the motion of thanks to Honorable President, a suggestion was made that everybody is celebrating Constitution Day. Supreme Court is celebrating Constitution Day. Supreme Court Bar is celebrating Constitution Day. Different high courts of the country and its bar are celebrating Constitution Day. But the place where Constitution was framed and adopted, it is not celebrating Constitution Day. That actually struck a chord with the government of that time. An Honorable Prime Minister, while inaugurating Baba Saheb Ambedkar's statue at Mumbai, declared that Constitution Day will be celebrated from this year, that is 2015. And that's how Parliament has started celebrating Constitution Day. And this year, all of us saw that a tribal lady, a person who is born in the Bananchal of Mayurbhanj district of Odisha, walking down the aisles to be accosted to the podium, and she delivered a message relating to the Constitution. Who empowered her? It was the Constitution which empowered her. It is not the Shakti that was being discussed here. It was the Samarthya of this Constitution that gave to the citizen of this country. And similarly, I would say, a lower middle class family, joint family, one of the son could achieve the topmost position of governance in this country, and that is our Yashasvi Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi. Who gave him that opportunity? It is the Constitution which has given him that opportunity. Similarly, I would say, I'm reminded, the Chief Minister of Odisha, he's a tribal person, born in also another forested area of Keonjhar district. And this Constitution empowered him to become the Chief Minister of a state like Odisha. So we should celebrate that. And this is the glorious moment of our celebration of this Constitution. Sir, Honorable President in her speech has mentioned many things, but one thing that has struck me very much. Our Constitution is a living and progressive document. Our far-sighted Constitution makers had provided for a system of adopting new ideas according to the needs of the changing times. That is why this Constitution is a living document. It changes as we progress. We inculcate new ideas and frame it for our better being. So in that respect, I would say, this very aspect needs to be cherished and should continue. I would only mention here, sir, there are certain aspects which are very close to my heart. Number of times I have moved private member bill. Why should we say India, that is Bharat? Didn't we, some of the political leaders of this country criticize when President of Bharat was there on the dinner table? Why you took umbrage to that? Bharat is our country's name. And if one goes through all the 5 volumes, not necessarily all the 5 volumes if you have that much time, relating to the debates of the Constituent Assembly. In English, it should be India. In other national languages, it should be Bharat. This type of was there. But India, that is Bharat, finally was there in the Constitution. Repeatedly, when I go through the Constitution, this actually hurts me. Why should we have this English nomenclature when this unfinished agenda needs to be corrected? Yes. Number of things have happened. During these 75 years, number of things have happened. And especially 5 years ago, when we were celebrating the Constitution Day, many things were also said. And during that period, one thing that comes to my mind is whether Baba Sahib Ambedkar was representing Bengal or Baba Sahib Ambedkar was representing Bombay province. Both are correct. And the then member of this house, Professor Sugata Bose, son of Sarat Chandra Bose, elder brother of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, an eminent historian from Harvard University, was representing Trinamool Congress. And he specifically mentioned that Dr. Ambedkar was representing Jessore and Khulna, that time of undivided India. And since that is the reason why I would just mention here, just a moment. From December 1946 till June 1947, the Constituent Assembly had 389 members, whole of undivided India. But from August 1947 till January 1950, it came down to 299, including representatives from princely states. The whole work was more than 2 years, 11 months, 17 days. And if we add 24th of January 1950, then it becomes 18 days. 284 members signed the written constitution, handwritten constitution. That shows that by 24th January 1950, 15 members did not sign in that constitution, though they were member of the Constituent Assembly. But here we should remember 2 other people. Honorable President has mentioned about how the Constitution was framed, the draft was made, and there our law minister, present law minister, informed me the other day, he is also aware about it, T.T. Krishnamachari categorically mentioned thanking Baba Sahib Ambedkar, how single-handedly or 1 or 2 other draft committee members actually helped in drafting the full constitution. There were 7 members nominated by the chairman, or by the president as it was being called. 1 resigned, 1 went to United States. 2 of them did not come to Delhi because of other reasons. So practically it was left to Dr. Ambedkar to individually draft the full thing, full constitution. And credit was given to him in the Constituent Assembly last day when it was being adopted by no other than T.T. Krishnamachari. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because he did not move one resolution. Number of resolutions were moved by Dr. Ambedkar, was discussed by the respective members present in that assembly, in that hallowed hall of our Samvidhan Sadan of today. But he did not move one resolution. and the history goes back. And all of us should ponder why Baba Saheb Ambedkar did not move that resolution. And what was that resolution? That resolution was relating to Article 370. And what was the assurance that was given? I will come to that aspect little later. But I will tell you that as India celebrated its independence on 15th August 1947, it faced a daunting task of integrating over 565 princely states into the Union. While states like Hyderabad and Junagadh posed initial challenges, Jammu and Kashmir emerged as a complex and critical issue. Maharaja Hari Singh, the ruler of Jammu and Kashmir, initially sought to maintain the state's independence, of course being prompted by the British. However, in October 1947, invasion by Pakistan-backed tribals forced him to seek assistance from India. On October 26, 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh signed an instrument of accession, agreeing to cede control, mark my words, only defense, foreign affairs, and communication. The rest was with the king. This was an idea which was floated by a section within our country, that if at all princely states will be amalgamated with the Union of India, it will be not full. Only these three, defense, foreign affairs, and communication, will be under the control of the Union of India. The rest, the kings or the rajas or the maharajas will enjoy. Means the law and order and everything. The judiciary, everything will be controlled by them. What type of India we would have had? A truncated India. That was in the mind of Churchill. That was in the mind of most of the colonial powers, that India can never be united. And these two ideas were floating at that point of time, and thanks to Sardar Patel, who could see the design behind this. But why Jammu and Kashmir was not in his charge? Because the then Prime Minister said, that is my state. I am a Kashmiri Pandit. I should look after that. And Sheikh Abdullah is my good friend. Whatever I tell him, he will agree. Did he agree? When you go through the letters of Gopal Swami Iyengar, the letters he has written to Sardar Patel and the letters he has written to Baba Saheb Ambedkar, it clearly reveals what type of treacherous action was being enacted during that period. That is the most unfortunate part. And we have to suffer more than 70 years. 70 years. Because of God's grace, Lord Jagannath's Ashirwad. Finally, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi took that decision. Let us abrogate Article 370. But before coming to that, I would just mention here, Dr. Ambedkar was fully opposed to this section. And he repeatedly said, we cannot, what subsequently, of course, we all always say, एक देश में दो निशान, दो संविधान नहीं चलेंगे, दो प्रधान भी नहीं चलेंगे. And it continued. And this was the design of a section of our thinking public in the country, and also was being told by the colonizers during that period. You wish India should protect your borders? She should build roads in your area? she should supply you food grains, and Kashmir should get equal status as India. As India. Government of India should have only limited powers, and Indian people should have no right in Kashmir. To give consent to this proposal would be a treacherous thing against the interests of India, and I, as the Law Minister of India, will never do it. These were the words of Dr. Ambedkar. And when we think about N. Gopal Swami Iyengar, while going back a little bit to the history, one feels little troubled. Why did he do it? Thing is, to cut the story short, I would say, Gopal Swami Iyengar was included in the drafting committee by Pandit Nehru, was deputed by Pandit Nehru to go and meet Maharaja Hari Singh, to go to Srinagar and meet Sheikh Abdullah, and bring him to Delhi, somehow or other to have an arrangement. Was it necessary? When Sardar Patel can bring in Junagadh into the Union of India, can bring in Hyderabad into the Union of India, can bring in 26 states of Odisha Gadjat into the Union of India. Why Gopal Swami Iyengar was doing all this? Because in 1930s, he was Diwan of Maharaja Hari Singh. A personal rapport had developed during that time. After so many years, while remembering all these treacherous activities that was going on, because my father has written about all these aspects in a very succinctly in a book, The Beginning of the End. The foreword has been written by Sardar Patel in that book. This was published in 1949, relating how the different princely states got amalgamated into our union, how it was started from Odisha. The first princely state that came into the Union of India was Nilgiri state of Odisha. Subsequently, other states. This happened on 14th of November 1947. On 15th of November, rest 25 princely states, Maharajas and Maharajas, they put their signature instrument of accession. And this continued throughout, ultimately culminating in the Hyderabad amalgamation. But the story here is, when in 15th of December 1947, when 25 princely states representatives were there, Rajas and Maharajas were there, one set was provided to them to put their signature. Out of 25, 20 Maharajas said, we have not been told that communication, foreign affairs, and defense, these were the three we are conceding. Why you are asking us to put a signature on that we will be acceding our full state to the Union of India? This was not agreed upon. Sardar Patel thumped the desk, said, if you want to do it, otherwise you can leave. And within an hour, everybody agreed. Why can't this strong arm tactics be practiced in Kashmir? What was the soft corner for Sheikh Abdullah? What was the soft corner for Kashmir? On 16th October 1949, Sardar Patel has written a letter to Gopal Swami Iyengar. Sardar Patel was disappointed with the change in the language. The language was also changed, just to accommodate. And he expressed the anomaly that will creep in. Sardar Patel criticized Sheikh Abdullah's repeated appeals Whenever he was cornered, he used to say, I have a duty to my people. He didn't have a duty to the people of India. That is the tragedy. And during my 25, 26 years in Parliament, many a time I have said, I have listened, my duty to my people. But are you not committed to the people of this country, to this nation? Constitution binds us all. I find there are, I quote of Sardar Patel's letter, I find there are some substantial changes over the original draft, particularly in regard to the applicability of fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. You can yourself realize the anomaly of the state becoming part of India at the same time, not recognizing any of these provisions. In these circumstances, any question of my approval does not arise. These were the objections of Sardar Patel, the then Home Minister, Deputy Prime Minister. Still, Gopal Swami Iyengar moved that draft. Dr. Ambedkar said, I'm not going to move it. Moved that draft, and it was adopted only for the insistence of the then Prime Minister. जैसे कहा जाता है, उर्दू में कहावत है, मुझे इतना उर्दू आता नहीं, one mistake of a moment, generations after generation people suffer. And this is a clear proof of that. लमो ने खता की, धन्यवाद. This is a clear example of this. At a spur of the moment, or because of your infatuation or softness, whatever it is, you allowed this to happen. How many armed personnel have been killed? What has happened to that? And who corrected it? On 15th, I fail to understand. This, and in that, it is the hope of everybody here, this was in the Constituent Assembly, that in due course, even Jammu and Kashmir will become ripe for the same sort of integration as has taken place in the case of other states. And this hope was realized only in 2015. I would say there were notably Article 370 was placed under Part 21 of the Constitution titled Temporary. This was the only solace. This inclusion, along with its title as temporary provisions with respect to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, underscores its impermanence. And it was on 5th August 2019, after the new Lok Sabha was formed in the monsoon session. As we are all expecting this to happen, it happened. But it had undergone lot of footwork, lot of paper pushing, lot of interactions. And I should remember, we should all remember the effort that time Mr. Arun Jaitley had made. We are talking about the Constitution, and there is always a possibility. On 5th August 2019, nearly 70 years after the enactment of Article 370, the central government decided, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, to revoke the special status granted to Jammu and Kashmir. And the day it was piloted by no other than Home Minister Amit Shah ji. And all of us participated in that deliberate. Some of us participated in that debate. The forthrightness in which the government at that point of time said 370 has to go That was the voice of the nation. There were some murmurs somewhere. Even we hear some murmurs today, but they didn't have the courage to say it publicly.
Please conclude, Mananiya Sadasya.
Even during this last assembly election, there was some thing said under a garb. But I believe when two sets, the mistake that was committed in 1949, that mistake has been corrected. And that is the reason why I mentioned about Honorable President's speech, that how we can correct ourselves according to the tune of time. Last point, sir, I would like to mention here. Of course, political institutions and structures not only reflect the society, they also influence and change it. In this context, Parliament of India plays a direct and conditioning role in bringing about social change and affecting socio-economic transformation. Being the people's supreme representative institution, Parliament is the lifeline of all governmental activities. And during last 10 years, some months, it is under the leadership of our Prime Minister that a common person in a village also feels that I am part of the system. My account is operated. I get benefit. I also have a say. Did this happen 10 years ago? It was not happening. Technology has helped us. And utilizing that technology to reach the common people is something which we should glorify.
Dhanyavad.
Another last point which I would just like to mention. The country that we see today in a map was never under one rule, one law, at any point of time of our hoary past. We had Chandragupta Maurya, Ashoka the Great. We had also Badshah Akbar ruling this country. Large chunk of area. But many a time, Northeast was not part of it. South Deccan was not part of it. Whole of India was not a part of the British Empire. It is this and many a time this question also is asked, who is keeping our borders safe? The armed forces, no doubt. But who is keeping the people together? Either we sit on this side or that side. Who is keeping us together? It is the Constitution.
Thank
it
you.
is the Constitution that is keeping us together for last 75 years.
Thank you.
And it is one law. No point of time one law was prevalent from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. It was the one law that is prevalent, and that law is our Constitution.
Thank you.
And we take pledge on this Constitution.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir,
Thank
for
you,
allowing me
Mahtab
to
ji. Thank you, Mahtab ji. माननीय सदस्य श्री सुखजिंदर सिंह रंधवा जी.